Welcome to the Neon City Daily Podcast, the podcast so advanced that you can't even tell it's a deepfake. I'm Jamie.
I'm Nick.
I'm Dave.
I'm Josh.
How you going, boys?
Good.
Yeah, getting there.
You know, deepfakes are pretty realistic.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But you couldn't tell, like...
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I've only just started looking into what a deepfake is because I didn't know that it was a thing ages ago. But anyway.
The problem is to pull this deep fake off, we actually have to do it. To have that deep fake, to say it's there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But
I mean,
as I was saying last week, I think, it's a cool technology that is mostly driven by the porn industry.
well, most of the deepfakes I've seen are just like putting Nicolas Cage's face in like other movies.
Oh, okay.
wow, you're on a different bus these days. The reason I know about
Well, it
deep
depends
fakes-
what kind of movies they're putting him
Well,
in.
that's true.
Yeah.
They're other Hollywood
the
blockbusters.
reason- The only reason I even heard about deepfakes is because they put Gal Gadot's face in some porn. So, I mean, there you go.
Man,
Is that Wonder Woman?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
Wonder
yeah.
Woman. Wow, Josh. Wow.
I haven't seen
Wow.
Wonder Woman.
You-
I have
Wow,
no interest
really?
in Wonder Woman.
The biggest
Like,
DC
you're
fan
like
I
the
know.
most- yeah, that's it. You're the most DC Superman fan I know, and you didn't bother checking out
One of the
No.
good
Wonder
ones.
It's on my list, but
The good
it's not.
one?
It's not high on my list.
Wow, way to just throw women's rights in the dirt, Josh.
Hey, there was
What
a
are you
Martha
doing
in
with your
Superman.
life? But yeah, no, Wonder Woman was actually pretty good. Of all the DC movies, it wasn't bad.
Better than Man of Steel?
Yes.
Lies.
We can't get into this again. It's just
No, this is not a
too much.
conversation we need to have. There's too
Alright.
much abuse.
Who's
to
been
be
playing
thrown.
video games?
I mean, I have seen none of these movies, so let's move on.
Oh, this is so unfortunate.
Well, it depends which movie you're talking about.
Moving on, guys. Moving on.
It's just, yeah. Alright,
I'll show you. I'll
yeah.
lend you Man of Steel later. I've got the
Don't watch it.
Blu-ray uncut.
No one wants it, Josh. We're not getting into this.
No one needs Man of Steel.
You guys hurt me, but anyway.
So what have you guys been
Nicolas
playing?
Cage in it.
Not a whole lot. I've actually been modifying my man room.
Yeah.
Just because sometimes you got to clean the computer instead of use it.
I mean, that's debatable, really.
And I don't have enough hard drive space to play new games. And I got sick of my old games, so...
How much hard drive space would you say that you have, like, in general, Josh?
Well, I can tell you exactly that I've got...
Like, in total.
Not space available, but just in total.
Okay, so what, that's
Like
500...
storage.
So, just shy of a terabyte?
Man.
In total.
How much
I'm
space do you have available?
100 plus 17 plus 100. So 217. But the downside is that's spread across 3 drives.
And is that
So if
like...
you get like one large game, it's not going to fit on really any one particular drive.
It's really interesting to me that like your super souped up PC has the same problem that my Xbox S has, in that there's no space to play any of the games.
Well, no, see, it's souped up and I have little storage because I've used all the NVMe slots and I refuse to go backwards to SATA. Even though there's really no discernible difference.
I like how you're willing to just point out that you're being really elitist about this.
I'm being elitist
Yeah.
and I'm suffering for it.
Yeah,
so feel sorry for me.
As long as you know.
You can't
that's
feel sorry
okay.
for you when it's so
No, I can't.
self-inflicted.
It's not a thing, yeah.
It's not self-inflicted.
It totally is self-inflicted.
At the time of purchase, it was a technical
Okay,
limitation.
Josh, I'm going to mention this right now. I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to spell this out for everyone to see.
And Jess said
If
I'm not
you-
allowed to spend any money on upgrades.
If you've looked at something and gone, I could fix that, but then sat back in your chair and gone, but I won't, it's kind of your fault.
Also, Josh,
Well,
by that
one,
logic,
I don't
if you
wanna
get a
open the
SATA, it's
computer.
technically a downgrade, so
It is. Why would you
clear
do
and
that?
free.
We're trying to help you, Josh.
Anyway, I haven't been playing a lot of games. I've been playing a bit of League of Legends because it's basically a daily chore. I haven't touched much else, I'll be honest.
pretty good.
Quite similar, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been busy in
I've
isolation.
been watching a lot of YouTube instead.
Yeah.
That
Guys, you're killing me.
That SD YouTube.
Yeah, pretty much. The whole let's default to 480p.
Are they doing that here? Is
Yeah,
it
they
for
do
all?
it everywhere, man. They've set it as an across the bar thing,
Yeah, right.
which is.
So I've been watching YouTube videos of games instead of playing them.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, it's actually surreal watching
I
the
can see
competitive
it
League of Legends stuff. Because like all the casters and analysts are just sitting at home in the bedroom, and I don't know where the players
they
are.
weren't doing that before?
Yeah, isn't
No,
that how they do it?
They had like a legit
They were in the
studio and
studio.
everything.
Yeah, there was an audience and everything.
They had a better production value than 99% of sports.
Mm. The LEC is particularly good.
Yeah. LCK. I mean, the Chinese, they don't do anything in halves.
No.
Tell me about
The
it.
coronavirus.
Have you seen this one?
As soon as you said that, I was going to be like, just check their numbers, yeah.
But no, it's just legal. Yeah, just esports in particular. That I think has come a long way. Production values.
Oh, for
Pretty
sure.
high.
I mean, my base point for this is Evo. Like, I don't watch a lot of other esports at all. I watch some Siege now and then, like the Rainbow Six Siege stuff, because that I enjoy the game, so I'm kind of into it. I like watching it, but
And it's good to watch a team that actually work together instead of flaming.
Yeah, instead of just screaming around being randos. But I find that's been my thing with Evo. Every year, the big fighting game tournament, like in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. The way they've done that over the years has gotten just so much better. Like, they've gone from literal guys with handy cams to basically having proper, full-fledged, like, streaming services backing them.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, running their gear to where it needs
It's
to
a
be.
money
and,
event
like,
now.
But they're getting,
it's a massive
you've
money
made
event.
it when you're getting sponsored by things that aren't like computer products. So like when you're being sponsored by that, or like a car company who otherwise wouldn't have looked twice at you.
Yeah.
You know that you're obviously reaching an audience big enough to demand the attention of.
Yeah. I mean,
Man,
Bud
you know,
Light
you
is
know who's
sponsoring
not
part
good
of
at
League of
doing
Legends.
Are they really?
online
Yeah.
gaming stuff like that though?
Who's that?
Blizzard. Man, they had like a Warcraft remastered event where it was like literally two guys in the same room, like running off of like but because of the way that the Reforged edition works, you can't have a direct LAN. It has to go online, and so these guys were playing in the same room, and one of them dropped. And they dropped multiple times in these grand finals, and people were arguing that the dude lost because he dropped, and the other guy knew what his strategy was, so he was able to overcome it and defeat it in one of the times where he didn't drop.
I don't get that.
You don't get what?
How did both not drop?
Well, they did. Like the game had to be restarted.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
I thought you said just one
Oh
guy
yeah,
dropped.
so like he saw what he was doing. Then obviously he could like look at that and translate to when the game actually worked.
yeah, they had to restart the match every time
okay.
somebody dropped out. And yeah, it was a bad time. And like they're also trying to take all of the Overwatch League stuff and internalize that and make that just Activision only. And they don't know how to run tournaments, so it's really, really bad. And I think they're getting on to other people who are trying to run tournaments, going like, "No, it's only us." It's pretty awful.
And of course, with Blizzard, if you win, you have to be very careful about what you say in your
Yes, definitely.
acceptance speech.
Yeah, if you're going to be part of anything to do with Blizzard, you've got to be very careful about what you say.
Just you can be thankful, but just not for Hong Kong.
Yeah, you can... No, you can be taking a dump and not even online at the time, and if you say the incorrect wordage, like it's all going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure like Blizzard banned people like based on Twitter comments that they made like years ago.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff.
They like even when they sign people up now, like part of the vetting process when they sign you up is that you basically have to give them your handles. But
that's that's everywhere now.
No, but like then it's like I think it's a 5 to 7 day vetting process where they just scrub all you think, or like
Yeah.
every account you've had for things. But then,
But everyone does that now. Like
outside
I've
of
had
that,
potential employees that do
the
that.
problem is that like everyone does that, but not everyone turns around and denies people or bans people based on innocuous things that they've said. Or
I guess it depends. For more public-facing roles, if a fan or someone was to dig that up and go, hey, why are you associated with this person who said this mean thing?
I would understand it if they were going, hey, you're associated with the KKK. Why are all these people calling you the Grand Wizard? I would understand that. That would make a whole lot of sense.
there.
But someone going, I feel like a democratic nation should probably stay that way, is not something you should be banning people for.
Oh no, there's common sense, and then there's
different
there's
levels
money.
of this thing, and
That's right. We look at
And-
Kevin Hart. He got dumped from the Oscars, and they said you can host the Oscars if you apologise. And he said, I've already apologised, because it was like 10 years ago. He made what people said was homophobic, but it was just in poor taste.
Yeah, it was just
Joke
it was just
about his own kid or something about dressing up. And then, it's part of this cancel culture now, I think is what they call it. That anything can come back to bite you.
Oh yeah, no, that's that, like, yeah, when you say cancel culture, that's exactly what it is. It's that weird, like, I've dredged something out of, when you were 5 years old, you put feathers in your hair, and instead of saying Native American, you said Indian, so you're the worst thing anyone's ever seen on the planet, and there's this guy about to retire, just like, what do you mean? So...
But how can they seriously judge it? Like, don't be the first to cast that stone, because... a lot of people are going to have skeletons in their closet. Like,
Well,
it's a bit hypocritical.
That's
It's
why...
the classic overreaction. We've
Yeah.
gone from a point of not doing anything, not caring what people's pasts were, to going recognise, well, we should look into what people actually do and think, but now we overreact to any little thing now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
So,
Thanks, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Valuable input.
Just doing my part, guys.
Jamie's just going to peace out now. See ya!
So have you guys been playing any games, by the way?
yeah.
I feel like Jamie might have just been going through all his social media history and just like scrubbing out anything that's potentially
Oh shit, hell, oh god, they look at this, oh no.
My old gamer tag used to be Grand Wizard.
I've said that out loud, and Jamie's finally put two and two together. Like, wait a minute.
Those are bad?
What's wrong with wizards? They're great.
Oh,
And
I will
Grand.
admit, like for a horrific organisation, they've got a cool naming system. So.
Well, if you think about it, maybe Tolkien was low-key racist because Gandalf turned from grey to white,
Okay,
and he was a great wizard.
I mean, his hat's
chuck
kind
this
of
out
pointy.
there. I spent way too much time in the Tolkien universe because I'm that guy. He was a little bit racist, and everyone I think at this point is willing to admit that. But he was also weird in like his racist ways because he was a little bit like, yeah, I don't think they're going to succeed as well as we are. Using "they" as a very loose term, but he was also like, they're also super valid and helpful, and there's people. And so it was like a weird little middle bit where you look at it now and he was a little bit racist. But you look at it back in the 50s and he was weirdly progressive.
Yeah, you got to take like a lot of like the time period into consideration when you look at like old creators, because we're in a situation now where it's like if you don't have the exact same views that someone else has, then you're in a lot of trouble. And they expect that to like work retroactively as well, which it doesn't.
Well, it'll be interesting to learn in 50 years what you could look back on today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, none of this. None of this. 50 years,
go,
nothing.
Yeah. Like,
Everything we're
man,
saying
like,
right now, from hello to goodbye, none of it. Bad or awful.
Like 20 years' time, Nick will be considered for hosting some big game show or something, and they'll look back and go, no, he didn't like Man of Steel. We're not going to hire him.
That's fine. I won't work for you in
he's
that time period anyway, Josh.
You're called a cryptophobe or something like that because you
just
don't
something
like the Man
that.
of Steel.
Yeah, a fiction phobe.
Oh,
Damn Martha-phobes.
man, there are people out there who have like literally done like GDC talks about how video game characters are real and should be treated with the same respect as an actual person.
Oh boy. I haven't seen Crash Bandicoot in the streets, but
Yeah.
I'd be excited to meet him. Maybe Spyro as well.
Completely unhinged.
Yeah.
I
feel like if there is any video game character that is going, you're just going to find them in the streets, is Trevor from GTA 5.
God, I hope not.
It's
Just
pretty close.
redneck, crazy American.
Have you been to Kempton lately? Yeah, it's you go to the middle of the country where there's a town every couple of hours, and yeah, you're pretty much there.
Yes, there's a Trevor.
So anyway, I've been playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing. I've
Me
watched so
too,
many
buddy.
videos, I still don't get it.
How do you not get it? It's so good. Actually, no, I say that, but it is one of those if you know things.
Yeah.
Like I feel
Well,
like you
consider me not
spend
knowing.
time.
It
Well,
looks
like
quite relaxing and enjoyable.
What was that, though?
It looks relaxing and enjoyable.
It
It
is.
is.
That's
It
the
is.
entire thing.
Yeah, that's the whole deal.
It's just like chill and build a city up.
I'm just coming off some night shifts at work, and this thing, I'll come home, I'll have a little bit of breakfast, and I'll kind of sit there with my Switch, and I'll just like chill out a bit, play some Animal Crossing, then I can just drop and go to sleep. It's great.
Yeah.
Is it like trying to keep a Tamagotchi alive?
No one dies.
You literally don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, it's
You
just
just
like
play
you
it
just
and
kind
do
of
what
you're working towards building up your town. So like you might set a project and you got to kind of come back tomorrow because it runs off of your
Runs
internal
up real
clock.
time.
Yeah,
Unless you're a dirty, filthy cheater.
yeah. Some people
Yeah,
can't
so what
travel.
is this I've read about people going 30 years into the future to reap the rewards of, or the interest
Well,
or something on the
It's exactly that.
investments?
They put like a bunch of money in their in-game bank, and like that money will accrue interest over time. And then they set their in-game clock to 30 years in the future. They go into the game, they get their money, reset the clock, and just can buy everything. So it's just cheat codes basically.
They're cheating themselves out of an
Well,
experience.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like how you have things that run off real time, and they'll kick off one day, and they'll like come to fruition the next.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, I've done this thing and I've worked towards this goal, and now it's like gotta happen. It's got to take a bit of time.
So it's the
Then people-
equivalent of like changing your computer clock time
yeah,
to trick it in. Right, okay.
But yeah, people are like taking things like, I can't believe I have to wait 24 hours for this thing that's fairly inconsequential to exist. I better play with the settings, and it's weird. I don't get it. Like it's just impatience.
So from what I know of
Yeah.
the game, that certainly sounds like it's defeating the whole purpose
Yeah,
Yeah, it
of
really
the
is.
game.
it really does,
I-
because it's supposed to be relaxing and chill when you play it over just time, and you're not supposed to feel rushed.
Yeah, and,
Yes,
and the time
it's-
sync makes everything that much more rewarding as well. If you
Yeah.
like kind of like give yourself everything all at once, because when you get right down to it, there's not that much to do in the game. It's all just like kind of like do a little bit of farming, do a little bit of like maintaining your garden, talk to some people, find some stuff, harvest some things, and then go to sleep. And and over time you'll acquire like new buildings, new people who live there.
The more
everything
you
builds
play,
up.
the more you get to do as well. Like the more you
Yeah.
play, the
Yeah.
more things kind of open up, and the more the world opens up.
Yeah, and so if you take away that kind of like wait the next day, like you could like get through the whole thing really quickly, but you'd be kind of depriving yourself like the actual experience of just kind of like slowly building things up and like oh, I got a town hall now, that's real nice.
Well,
or oh, this guy joined my island after X amount of time, wowee.
That's the other
yeah.
kind of thing to it, though, is that there isn't really an end of Animal Crossing. There is no real end. You're just supposed to keep playing and get it how you like it. And like even when you get to the point where later on and you've got more buildings and more like characters living there and that kind of thing, you're still kind of just supposed to be chilling and like like move this, I'll make this work a bit better, or I like this aesthetically and da 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 da. But and so that's also kind of my thing, is just like time skipping doesn't make a lot of sense to me because the game is building this up and getting there.
Yeah.
And
See, I thought there was no end to Sid Meier's Pirates, but then the game made me retire. And that was
really?
That is devastating.
That was so devastating.
I never saved my sister.
Yeah, I never saved my sister. I did have to retire though. I know where you're coming from there.
I was loving playing that game, and then bam, your pirate is, or your, whatever, is retired.
You old AF. Yeah.
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 See, there's probably some editing or some hacking you can do so it doesn't.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
you
there's a
would
mod
just be
somewhere.
continuous, yeah.
Or even a cheat. They, it was old enough to have cheat codes in it.
Yeah,
Turn
true.
the system
Probably
time back.
But did Sid Meier's run off system time? It didn't. It was just like the gameplay
no,
stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know what metric it used for time, but
Yeah.
It was fairly self-contained. I think every 15 minutes was like a day.
Yeah.
But that just made it just made when Nick said you can't, there's no real end. It's like, well, I've been burnt before.
No, you don't get burned by Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing doesn't burn things. That's like its deal.
Actually, there is one thing that I've been
constantly
burnt
there to make
about
you
with
happy.
Animal Crossing.
Oh, really? Their online service? Is that
Their
where you go?
online service is rubbish.
Yeah.
And not even just like their online service, their local play stuff is naff as well, because Lauren and I were playing it today, and she joined my town. I'm just walking around. I dug up like 3 fossils. I found a lost item. I got like a pants press from somebody for returning their item.
Sweet.
And then she dropped from the game. And so I was like, oh, someone's leaving. And when like she left, I looked in my inventory. Everything I got was gone. And the fossils were already dug up, so I couldn't dig them up again.
So you couldn't dig them up again.
So I had to like hard reset my game real fast before it auto saved, so I could actually like reset to before Lauren showed up. Actually, go dig that stuff up, find the lost item again, give it to this person. They gave me something else that I already had. I was so cut.
Like a kettle. Yeah.
Yeah, it was rubbish.
No, they're it's something that has always been consistent with Nintendo systems and services. Their online's usually pretty bad. I didn't realise they're local. Still had a whole bunch of issues. I haven't done local yet. I've only played around online. So
yeah, like if you're like right next to each other, it's pretty good. But if you're in another room for the house, I guess like the connection can get a bit fuzzy, and
there's no way of recovering that.
Yeah, we were fine for a while, and then it just went like, nah, drop now. Like there's no indicator that you've got a low signal or anything like that, so it's really hard to tell.
I'm just gonna interrupt and say that I forgot to press record.
Are you
on what?
Invoice meter.
On voice meter. So I'm still getting Dave and I's local, but I'm not getting you guys. So I definitely need your Audacity files.
All right.
Oh yeah, no, that's a given.
Should we do some boops then?
Should we do some boops for you to sync?
No. It's okay. I rarely use the boops anyway. I'll be honest.
All right.
Okay.
I play on hard mode.
Yeah, that
need
is
a
hard
checklist,
mode.
Joshua Krause.
We literally gave you an easy option, and you've not taken it.
You need like okay. 1, start recording. 2, start recording the other thing. 3, hit save. 4, upload.
No. 4, edit. 5, upload.
Fine.
Yeah.
Edit, then upload.
6, send the link to Nick so he can distribute it.
Yeah,
See, Jamie, you're just missing everything. You suck at this. I should.
I suck, mister. We're going to do a double episode.
Keeping the people on the edge of their seats. All 90-something of them.
How long has the counter on the website been at 04?
Oh yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Well, so my release time is 11 p.m. Tuesdays.
So, for a while then.
It's been on 0 since 11 p.m. on Tuesday. Alright.
Yeah. But that's okay. The stats on episode 2 was 103 unique listeners.
Oh, that's good.
Cool.
I have submitted us to Spotify,
Yeah.
but I'm still having some issues with the XML file, but hopefully we'll be on there soon.
We'll get
I haven't even looked into how to get onto iTunes.
Oh, iTunes is easy.
iTunes is easy, yeah. You
Is
literally
it? That
just-
seems...
literally just
That goes
register.
against everything I know about Apple.
Yeah, it's just...
No, I have
just,
the nerd train on iTunes, and I think we only had about like a couple hundred concurrent listeners, so yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've also been playing a bunch of Monster Hunter.
Nice.
Oh, yes, I played that too for once.
Oh, did you? Really?
Yeah.
Josh
yeah.
played
Jamie showed me
What?
around.
Josh played a video game that not only do I like, but I didn't think he'd be into. This is... Alright, we're heading into fucking unknown territory now.
Uncharted waters here, boys.
Yeah, how did you feel about it, Josh? What was your experience?
I've had Monster Hunter since almost close to launch, I think.
Really?
And
On
then
PC,
played a
yeah.
few hours of the tutorial and never touched it again. And then see Jamie playing it all the time, and I'm like, might as well download it again.
Yeah.
Didn't want to go through the tutorial again because I find that quite arduous. And so Jamie, jumped on with me and showed me the ropes. And
Yeah, we did a couple of low rank hunts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good game. Are you running like mouse and keyboard on it?
I am because I ran controller when I first played it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind controller when it's anything other than a first person game.
Yeah.
But whether they've made changes or not, it just doesn't seem as bad to control now as it did on the keyboard
It is
and mouse.
much better. They really tweaked the mouse and keyboard controls. It used to be
Right,
that
okay, so they have changed it.
It actually follows your mouse like a mouse-driven camera in a PC game now. Whereas before it was kind of like emulating like the camera turn of the control pad, complete with like deceleration and acceleration. It was really, really yuck. But yeah, no.
Speaking of which, while I remember, quick question that you guys might know the answer to, or Nick, do you get auto aim assist on Modern Warfare? On Xbox?
No. Oh, actually, no.
okay.
I say that. Like, I think there's like some very slight soft lock, but that's about all you get.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It is very loose though. You've got to get good scrub.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm still working on that.
Yeah, I'm not there.
I've only played like it twice.
But yeah,
so,
I've just been running through the
did alright,
the end game Safijiva raid a whole bunch on that game, and that thing is like, it's such a weird like a love-hate thing because I prefer it to the Cult of Roth Siege.
It's a lot better. I feel
It couldn't be rough if you don't know what you're doing. People have like very clearly defined roles, and you got to know what that is. Otherwise, it's just you're not gonna get any armor on that thing.
See, you say that, but I just keep flailing. And just throwing myself at this thing and just going, do damage and try not to die. And
Yeah.
So is it match made or something? You got to do it with other people.
You
You
do
can't do it with
stuff.
other people.
With like the raids in that game, they work in a very specific way. So what we generally do is we'll have our own like group or server, that kind of thing, because it's got an odd online component. So you've actually got to be in the same kind of server to be able to get to missions that someone else is posting. So we kind of made our own, but obviously with that, there's only us and our friends in there. When there's only a couple of us on, you won't be able to really do that raid unless you are so patient and you've set a day aside. So what you usually do is you jump into a server that's actually populated, especially because you can use the matchmaking options to look for servers that have people doing the raid.
That's really great.
You jump in there and it's basically just teams of 4 running off the server into that mission. And everyone's progress gets accumulated. Like, the more you do, the more kind of, like, reward points, like credits,
The monster
whatever you
basically
get.
has, like, a shared health bar between all the fights that are going on in that server.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I'm doing damage to, and I say I break, like, a foreleg on the monster, the other team will see that the foreleg has been broken, and like they will also get like the points for that break, and like as the monster whittles down health, it becomes easier and easier for people to fight it.
And
so generally you do like about 2 runs per thing.
Yeah, I found it, like, it depends on how good the team is, and because the raid effectively ends when a team manages to kill it. When a team manages to kill the monster that you're fighting, you can then rock up at the bench, and then you can just get your rewards, and your rewards are better depending on how many points you've made by jumping in and fighting. And so, like I said, you can do it with a couple of guys and just make sure you actually spend the time. If you got the time to do it, go for it. But it is a beast. It is pretty brutal. And just to go back to what Jamie said before, it is. I find this raid a lot better than the other one, because the first one they did, the Cult of Roth one, you'd kind of like jump in, you'd see the monster, you'd have to kind of follow it around, you'd have to try to break bits, you'd have to try and shoot it with things. and kind of then you'd really fight it. But this is just like, alright, you've match made with a bunch of people. Here's a big pit. The monster is in it. Go get.
Yep.
And
You would jump down the pit 3 times.
Yeah.
No, 2 times. And on the third one, you can kill him or he'll escape.
Yeah.
If you kill him, it's great because you can get to carve it and make special armor.
Yeah, that's how you get armor. If you're the team that
yeah.
actually kills him, you get the added bonus of being able to get the bits to make armor. But if you you aren't the team that actually kills him, you still get all those reward points to get weapons.
Yeah.
And those weapons are incredibly helpful in then doing the siege better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, like the better you kill him, you get like these upgrade materials that are just for the weapons, and so you can then use those to power up the weapons and give them like custom stats and make yourself like more effective in the siege and in the game in general. So it's like there's a lot of like different layers to it, and like I've just been grinding that thing out for like the last week or so. So I've managed to like get like a decent like hammer and dual blades, and I've got like the armor, which is kind of rough because when you've got like up to 3 pieces of the armor and you activate your weapons, it activates the armor, which gives you like a massive
Huge dong.
a big dong, big damage buff, but it also whenever you swing your
Huge
weapon
EP.
it takes away health. And so if you land like a combo, like if you hit like I think it's like 6 or 7 times with the dual blades, it will then regenerate your health. So if you avoid everything and land your hits, you're gonna be fine. But if you mess up, you're just gonna die really bad. So it's really you gotta be extra careful. It's
Very
this big
risk
kind of
reward.
risk reward. That's exactly what I was gonna say. And so it looks sick, man. It looks so cool.
Did Iceborne expansion add a new raid or?
Yes, that is the new raid.
That's the new one.
Oh, that is the
that's
new one.
got-
Right,
yeah,
okay.
man, that Iceborne expansion though, like I mean, obviously we're kind of a little bit late to the party, I guess. We're talking about it now. It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
But that Iceborne expansion was so good. It was just such a legitimate expansion to that game.
Yeah.
To an already big game. It's a legitimate expansion. And
I've almost put 300 hours into it on PC now. I've got like about 250 on Xbox with Nick.
Yeah, I'm right up there.
Damn.
There's a lot to do in that game.
Yeah. And I mean that's the thing too. Like like I said, Jamie with his about 250 on the Xbox is Jamie I feel has been kicking with me most of the time. So I know I've got those 250, but I've also got another character sitting there that I'd played before that I ended up jumping off of after about 130 hours. And then it just because it's got that counter, it's a little bit good and bad because you log on, you see that counter, and you go, that really is like 400 hours.
Yeah, but at least you can blame isolation and quarantine.
At the moment,
No, I can't.
Yeah.
I can pretend that I've done that in the last week or two, but it's not. I'm lying. I'm just.
But Nick was also very similar to you, Josh, in that like he played it with us initially, didn't quite get what he was doing. Like he sort of suffered through it for like that first.
I think there is a learning
hours.
curve that's quite steep.
It absolutely is, but like I can easily pinpoint like when Nick started again when we got Iceborne, and he kind of clicked with the greatsword, and just like he went from raging every time we played it to really enjoying it and playing it on his own. So
it went from a never by myself to no one else is on, so I'll just do these things.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was genuinely surprised at the time with Monster Hunter, and you don't really. It's not really one of the things that it like really throws at you. It does mention it, but it doesn't really say to you. Different weapons almost make your playstyle like variable by looking at it like a different game. It is so different depending on what weapon you play, and then of course. You've got like your mentality as to like what monsters you like and what ones you want to hunt, and then like whether you've got that bit of a grind in there and whether you feel like doing that or whether you just want to bust some things out. But you've got a lot of options, and it is an incredibly deep game. And I feel like one of the reasons why I didn't click with it like straight off the bat was because I just kind of like I didn't know what I was in for. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realise.
I certainly approached it as if, or with the thinking that it was a fairly casual monster killing game, and it was so much more than that. And I still find it daunting. I still know next to nothing, but
because I mean, like, you basically the first thing you need to do is go like, what weapon do I want to use? There's 14 of them, and they're all completely different.
Totally different.
So there's a lot, and they like, you know, you start the tutorial and they kind of like throw like a couple of things your way, but really they barely scratch the surface on like just what it is you're getting yourself into, what kind of like weapon you're gonna want to use, because I mean, like, you know, Nick's running like the greatsword, which is like very slow, and you gotta like really predict where the monster's going to go to land your hits. But when they do land, when they do land, it's big damage.
Huge damage,
But like, you know, how is he to know that would be the one that he liked out of the 14? Like, it's impossible to know until you do like some trial and error and like see what you're kind of clicking with as you're fighting. Like, I ended up really liking the hammer, and I didn't think I would.
Just odd for you, like you're the guy.
Usually
that, like,
a big sword hit things.
Every game we ever play, you're just like, check it out, I got a katana. Like every game.
It's actually like you guys have swapped.
Yeah, almost.
In a way.
Yeah.
But,
and before that, I was using the switch axe, which is like a completely different weapon.
A totally complex combo weapony thing. Yeah.
Now I just hit him in the face.
Nice.
And even now, like I feel like I said, like greatsword's obviously my main weapon that I run to, but then it's also like, hey, I've kind of ground out a bunch of stuff, or I've gone like, I want to get this armor, and I've gotten them, fought something enough to get that armor, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, hey, I'll notice that I've got enough parts to make a viable like sword and shield, and so I started like running sword and shield a little bit just to kind of learn it, and because I knew I'd already spent enough time in the game to get a feel for a lot of the monsters I was fighting. Swapping to another weapon felt a lot easier and a little bit freeing, because you're just like, well, I can change this up now and then now, because I kind of have the knowledge already to see how this weapon works and then try to apply. It's Monster Hunter is a very like learning intensive game, because you don't even realize it is, because you're just kind of playing it and you're having fun, but then you realize that you're picking up how a lot of these things move and what a lot of cues are for different things. So.
Yeah, you're learning the monsters, and you're learning the weapon sets, and then you're learning how to put them together. And but it becomes very, very satisfying. Like there was a point in particular I remember where like Nick and I were fighting. I can't remember what we were fighting, but I remember like at the end of the fight, and it was a hard one, we're going like, this is a really good game. Like, I'm having a lot of fun. Like,
I still remember the crowning moment for me in that is fighting a Barrioth for like I think the second or third time, and I'd kind of started to get his spins down and his stupid flips and his wind attacks and everything, and I still remember just managing to like, he was distracted by another player. I think it might have been Lauren, actually. There's us in there, and something came up, and I went, hey, and he just did this thing, and I was like, wait a minute, I know I can do this. Held onto a charge with my greatsword, like did the Saiyan power up, and I just smashed him in the face for like 700 and something damage. And he went reeling, and I was just like, this is the fucking moment. And
you just feel so good when it works.
Like, there's a lot of stuff in the game where you start putting stuff together and you are rewarded.
Once you crack the timings and things like that.
You get rewarded for like paying attention.
Yeah, it's good.
Or you use a lance and a shield and you just sit there being like a little rock that nothing can touch and poking things.
Yep.
So,
well, that sounds like me all over, because then Jamie can just kill everything.
But yeah, you should.
That's generally how we play together.
You should jump back into it, Josh, and just like give like multiple weapons a crack in like just. Like
I certainly intend to check it out.
I will like preface that too with, I don't feel like, because there's a little training ground you can go to try out the weapons. That's kind of useful enough to jump in and look at them, but I kind of feel that like I don't get a feel for the weapons until I go out and just fight something.
Absolutely.
I feel like I need to go out, take it into the field, and go, alright, this thing's going to eat me. Let's see if I can hit it first.
Yeah, you need to know how the weapon is going to react to a moving target.
Yeah.
Like, just hitting a log isn't really kind of giving you, like, the mental know-how on how to use your weapon against the thing. It's just kind of like teaching combos. But even then, it's hard to focus on doing those combos when a thing is like moving around, smacking with a tail and like spitting at you. So it's one of those games where the training room, not that great. It's probably best for seeing like how much damage you can output with a combo and then actually trying it on something else.
Okay.
But yeah, Monster Hunter, good fun.
Big good game.
Cool.
I'll have to pick it up when it's on sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's really good. The only downside is that it is a very it's a hungry game. It's resource hungry. So if you've got like a middling computer, just get ready to have to like crank some settings down.
Oh, I'm getting used to that already, so maybe even more so for me.
I ran at about 110 FPS.
Yeah, I'm kicking about.
It doesn't
90
have
or so.
ultra support.
Between 70 and 90, depending on how intense everything is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing this week. Really, I don't think there's been anything extra. I kind of started on some XCOM a couple of weeks back, but I haven't really gone back to that since I picked up Monster Hunter again.
Am I still alive then?
Yeah, you're alive this time.
Oh, excellent.
There's no Josh 2
within minutes of the first time he played it.
I couldn't help it. It took people from my character roster that I'd already made and just populated them in the game. And then in the tutorial mission, it's like it was really hard to. Basically, someone has to die, and it was really hard to not have people die. And I tried the mission 2 times, and you died again. I was like, I guess that's just meant to be. And
the sacrificial lamb. Did I at least die, hero?
You, I mean,
yes, it's the answer to that.
I guess, yeah, sure. And
yes,
and then,
thank you.
And then, instantly, I recruited a new person, and then just put on the same customization and renamed them Josh the Second.
Nice.
And he survived throughout the rest of that game.
Well, I'm happy with that.
But yeah.
Right. So, we haven't touched our rundown list.
No. Well, actually, now's just why we just got that pause. I just want to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
He's gone to pee, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
I warned him before. We were talking beforehand, and I was like, "Hey, give me a minute. I'm gonna do my pre-podcast peeing." He went, "Good idea," and then I guess he never did.
All this hydration is dangerous.
What else do we actually have on that list? I can't remember.
Is there such a thing as plain muesli?
Huh?
Plain music.
Wait,
isn't
in
that
what
just like a bowl of oats
context?
or something?
Yeah, where are you going with this?
Jess is sent me out earlier, and I went to Claremont Village. Because I was on the way back home.
Okay, you mean plain muesli?
Yeah. And she's like, just grab me some muesli. And then she's like, did you lie to me? Because I came home and said I couldn't find any muesli. And she just sent me a photo of a shelf full of different stuff that has muesli in the name.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say any of those are plain,
But that's the thing. And I'm like, but you asked for just muesli. I took your message literally. And she's like, there's heaps here. And I'm like, but none of them are plain muesli.
What are the key ingredients,
Yeah.
I guess?
Isn't muesli just oats and a bit of sultana or
Yeah,
something?
it's like oats.
I don't eat
some,
healthy
kind
cereals.
of nut stuff. It's you
Some
can
sort of
get
seed or nut,
plain muesli. It's just got to be not flavoured, not apple cinnamon or something.
I'm back.
Anyway.
Hey, sorry about that. The room here gets really hot really fast when I got the door closed, so I've just been drinking water to keep my body temperature down, but there were unforeseen consequences to my actions.
Yeah. We're just talking about muesli.
Oh, I love muesli. I like the stuff with apricots in it.
See, that's
not
not
plain.
There you go. Yeah, it's specific.
Yeah.
The apricot one is nice.
Isn't Sultana brand basically muesli?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that as close as you get to plain?
No, it's because it's got the
No.
It's
sauce.
not really muesli though.
It's got like a little bit in there, but it's more...
It's more bran
Yeah.
than oats.
So muesli is oats.
I think
Yeah,
of oats
muesli
being-
is like
yeah.
oats. It's basically a pile of fibre.
Yeah,
Okay.
gives you good poos.
Yeah, I know. The doctor keeps telling me to up my fibre intake.
Well, just muesli for
And
breakfast,
you
my
just
man.
keep
You'll be
eating
okay.
cheese.
Oh, I don't like muesli. Oh, unless it's doused with honey or something.
Just get a jar of Osmolax and stir it in.
Ooh.
Doesn't taste like anything. It's flavour free.
I know, but I've had it once in water and it didn't mix
Oh,
properly.
you don't do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds like a bad idea to start with. Yeah.
You shovel the worst things into your gullet, I swear.
Anyway,
Prunes are also delicious.
That's a good place to
that
pick it up
is a
from.
blatant lie.
No, they're delicious. Prunes are great.
Jess tried to get me to drink pear juice, but apparently that's a natural laxative as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah. That's why, like, every time I go, oh yeah, I really like pear cider, it's a bad idea.
Mate, just scoff down like a whole bunch of what are they? Sun-dried apricots. That'll get you
I
going.
really like how we've just had that discussion of
I
fibre
don't
and stuff
need
like
help
that, which is
going.
like-
I need help
Which
stopping.
is like, we did start that conversation with getting fibre and making your turds regular, and it immediately went to, but wait, you can shit your pants if.
We're back to the toilet again.
Yeah.
Back in the toilet. Although, if I have dough, raw dough, when Jess is like making something, that binds me up for days. So.
And the way you have your pizza is almost raw dough.
Also, if you just eat like a bunch of bananas, that'll plug
That was
you
a
up.
little extreme even for me. I had to put the last one I made back in the oven. When you have to spoon your pizza onto the plate,
Far too flexible.
Oh.
it's not cooked enough.
You're like the cheese is supposed to stretch, but not the dough. The dough should not be stretching.
Oh, wow.
Cool. So, how about that rundown, Josh?
Yeah, are we going to the rundown, or are we... I don't know. Unless the chat's died.
No, sorry. Jess just messaged me and said, "Okay, we are done." And I was like, "We getting a divorce or?"
Yeah, you couldn't find the
Yeah.
muesli, Josh.
Well, we're done.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, girl really loves a muesli. So Half-Life Alex, we touched on that last week, and that's
Oh.
now in the wild. And
Yep.
there's a lot of outlets basically saying it's a masterpiece. IGN, well, take that with a
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
a great soul on that one.
with a
Some
truckload
with
of
some dollar
salts
signs.
and some dollar signs, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, 10 out of 10 masterpiece from them.
Right.
I've seen plenty of footage. It looks good.
Yep.
I haven't been personally tempted to play it just yet because it doesn't. It's very much made for the index
Yeah.
and the precious
the stuff
pressure
I've seen-
sensor.
Yeah, the stuff I've seen about it, like, the only headset that, like, has caveats when playing it at the moment is the Oculus Quest. Everything
Well, the
else
Vive as
runs
well.
fine. The Vive as well?
It runs well, but the remapping from the index buttons and controls to other headset controllers
Right.
is not ideal. It's not as natural, which is fair enough. You know, it's Valve and they made it to run the best or feel the most natural on their controllers. Apparently, because I've got an OG Vive. Because of the halo at the top of the controllers with the Vive, a big mechanic in the game is actually racking the gun, so you slide the top of the pistol back
Yeah.
when you're reloading and things like that. And because of the big, chunky, top-heavy controller on the Vive, you just like smashing the controllers together.
Oh, okay.
As a it's a lot more cumbersome, and it doesn't sound like a big deal, but you know you're taking away what should be a nice fluid, satisfying action,
Yeah.
and turning it into a button press.
And you turn that middle
Right.
reload, so you're doing that,
and it's not something you can turn off.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
turn
well,
automatic reloading on. You
you
still
say
have to
that.
rack that gun, and it's like, well...
You say that, but apparently, and this is the only reason I even know that it's actually out now, because I'm that guy. You say that, but I have already heard that people have already sorted or almost done with mods to make it playable without VR.
Non-VR.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all
There's
kind
been,
of expected someone to jump on that. Because,
Well, I think Valve are okay with it, because
They've
don't they
usually
give them like
been-
half the modding tools?
they've usually
I'm
been
pretty
fine
sure-
with people modding their games, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that like most of the stuff that they're finding out at the moment isn't even like mods per se. It's command lines. So like they've got just like a PC mode command line, and then like a simulate VR hands command line. Which I guess was primarily for like testing purposes and things like that.
You'd assume so.
But yeah, it just kind of like it works okay. I don't know like how much, but it'll definitely be like weird to play it with a mouse and keyboard, just because of like the way that a lot of the areas in Alex are going to be more condensed and made for people to kind of explore nooks and crannies more. Because something that they were talking about when developing the game was when you're working on like the first and second Half-Life, having like these huge wide open spaces, people just like run through them. They wouldn't care about stuff around them for the most part, because it's just kind of like the run and gun mentality of mouse and keyboard. But when you put the headset on and you're suddenly in the space, people are much more inclined to explore, look under things, kind of like take everything in, and that's what they've tailored the game to. So I wonder how much that would affect switching back to mouse and keyboard. Would it be boring? Like I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Well, from a game design perspective, it would be vastly different experience, obviously.
Yeah.
And how well it translates is yet to be seen as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I'm not sure. I mean, they're fairly high resolution. All VR headsets are fairly high resolution, so I don't think texture detail and things is going to be an
texture
issue.
detail will be fine. The game looks great.
I do feel like the visuals of the game itself would obviously translate fairly well, because they're kind of set to run at a level where you will be eyeing them off constantly. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be more how the controls translate into how you traverse that environment and how you exist in that environment. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it run on a GTX 1060 on all major headsets without dropping frames, but that's on low or medium fidelity in-game settings.
Not good enough for Josh!
Oh, no, I'll be cranking it if and ever I buy it. The good news is that my lighthouses work with the index controllers.
Right.
So, if, I'm not sure whether I want to invest in it yet, and I don't even think the index stuff's available in Australia at the moment, but if it ever is and it becomes affordable to, at the moment I'm not going to spend that kind of money on one AAA title.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, well, we're unemployed, buddy, so...
Well, I'm not, actually. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In other news, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think, don't know. I'll try and find someone else who's bought it and then try.
I certainly feel like it would be something that you, especially with the investment for playing it, it'd have to be one of those things where, like, at most, you'd probably get the game to try and already existing hardware and just see if you wanted to take it that step further.
But even that's a $90 investment.
Yeah, that's still some cash.
If it's not going to be... If it doesn't work too well with my headset, do I bother in, like I said, if there was even just a second AAA title that interested me in VR at the moment, then maybe it's worth it. But for what I use VR for, which is mainly playing with the kids in like Beat Saber and stuff, not worth it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it sold a lot of units for
Valve.
Sure.
I mean, like the whole thing, it supports pretty much every headset. There might be like some finagling to like get the controls just how you like it for anything that isn't index, but it's not going to like drastically be a detriment to your gameplay. And I mean, like the whole way that like the game was made is for accessibility, and it's kind of the issue with a lot of VR headsets is like people kind of coming together. There's like all these different types of hardware that basically do the same thing, but just a little bit differently. So over the last few years, the main concern has been like, how do we kind of homogenize this and make it so that everyone is accessible to our games? And I've only seen a few companies being like Bethesda and Rockstar, like just flat out going, no, you can only play this on the Vive. And then people hack it so it works and everything else.
I was going to
anyway.
say, but you know people are just going to take that away. But then it's also a case of like, Bethesda are just going to screw the pooch on that as well. So
yeah.
I think the barrier of entry, or not barrier of entry, but I think the headsets themselves are as good as they're going to get, bar, maybe higher resolution, less screen door effect, eye tracking, and improved field of view. Okay, so that's a few things, but I think we can all agree that VR is really going to take off when it comes to, or the next logical leap is things like pressure-sensitive controllers, individual finger movements, feet tracking, body tracking, stuff like that. And I think that's what irks me, that I can't play it, because something as simple as a reload, I can't do on my controllers without bashing them together and ruining the flow of the game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't know like how bad it is. This is all kind of speculative at this point.
I mean, I've watched it and I know that it's enough to annoy me. But my point is, I think if everyone's kind of reached a tipping point where, as you say, they either need to agree on a standard, and I think that's easily done with the headsets. But when it comes to the control systems, there's too much variation at the moment.
It's also that like we're at the point where we already have so many companies making them that getting them to all just shut up and agree is going to be a bit of a nightmare.
Because we were finding that like a lot of the controls are starting to actually look closer to each other than they were before. So you look at the Oculus Quest, how it's got like that. It's basically like the Oculus Rift controller, only the ring is up top, and that's very similar to the what's it called, the mixed reality controls and things like that, because it makes it easier for like the cameras to track everything. And then
because they're all inside out tracking as well.
Yeah. Well, yes, and so like you're seeing the control kind of go towards like that, but then Valve have done the Index, which is completely different and has like more finger tracking and is like a lot of a different beast. But then the Quest as well is also just got like flat out hand tracking now. I think I don't know how well it works, but that is a thing where you can just like, it will track your actual hand and follow the movements of your fingers in that. But I think that the real sticking point that is going to really open up the market is going to be a price point. When you get a headset that's like $200, it's going to change everything. Like right now, they're $1,000.
That is one of the
usually.
reasons why I haven't even looked at it. Why, like I haven't been able to look at it and go, I can justify buying that for the amount of use I would get.
Yeah,
I think it's that. Obviously, that I think is number one. But I think the surprising number two reason a lot of people don't invest is room.
Yeah, space is a big deal, but also a lot of games are now accounting for that, because it used to be that you had to be room scale. Now, like I'm just like looking at the page for Alex. It's like you can play seated, standing, or in room scale. So
I've seen them. I've seen videos of Alex played on the mixed reality sitting.
Yeah. And I play a lot of games at the moment, like either just standing in place or sitting, because I don't have a lot of space for my VR setup. So it's totally doable. It takes a little bit out of the game, because you're using the control pad to like flick your character in a direction so you know where you're facing, and you're not really moving around. You're using like the thumbstick to move your character back and forward. But once you sort of get the hang of it, it's fine. I mean, you're still in like essentially like a big 3D area where you can just grab whatever you want and manipulate it.
Yeah, something is lost though in that.
A little, but not a lot. Like you get over it pretty quick.
I mean, I'm keen to get one for sim racing, so sitting down works just fine for me.
Yeah. Dude, Elite Dangerous in VR is insane.
Yeah, that's
we tried that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like just playing anyway, so I can but I can fully see where like that game would be just above.
With you play with a Thrustmaster or something, don't you, Jamie?
What's that, Josh?
Do you play Elite Dangerous with a like a Thrustmaster or?
No, like I tried to, and I've ended up just going back to a control pad.
Okay,
because like
apparently that is pretty good with.
Thrustmaster is really good, but you need like the throttle control as well. I've just got like the joystick, and it's just not enough inputs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But like you get like such a sense of scale in that game, and it's.
But just dogfighting in that game is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just looking up to literally look, or like a fighter pilot would.
Yeah.
Looking up, sideways, trying to look behind you, see where the enemy is, and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great example of sitting. And did you try the steering wheel and Project Cars?
Yeah, I drove some Project Cars.
Yeah, in
It was
VR.
good fun.
Yeah. I think any driving game well made will translate so well to VR.
Yeah, cockpit games are great for it. And I was playing. There's this other game on. It's like a Rift exclusive called From Other Suns, and it's basically like imagine FTL, only it's multiplayer, and you can jump onto like other ships, and then you're in like a sci-fi dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
And so you go in, you loot these ships, then you go back, and then you jump to another place, and maybe like there's an attack, and you like have like people who are working as crew members who are like putting out fires or teleporting people in to fight aliens and stuff like that, or shooting other ships. It's like there's so much stuff going on in that game, and it's so much fun. And like I just play that one. I can play that sitting or standing, and it works just fine. Nothing's really lost from it. And
I really enjoyed Arizona Sunshine.
Yeah, that's another one that I played standing.
Yeah, except the dark mineshaft level.
Oh yeah, you got spooked pretty hard, buddy.
Oh. As we know, even on a monitor, horror games are no-go for me. When you put a VR headset on in a zombie game, in a dark mine, with even half-decent sound, I literally found the only corner. I remember us playing it with Steven. Find the only corner where your back can be against two walls.
Wow.
And then just that way I know that nothing's behind me, and I stay there and I scream at Steven and Jamie if something comes close.
Stuff would still creep up on you as well. It was great.
I should like literally creep up on him with like a paintbrush under his legs and just brush it or
he
something.
would kill you.
Eli got in the bad habit of trying to hit me in the nuts, but
sweet. That's what you want your kids to do. Constantly try to.
That also raises the stress levels a little bit.
Tension slightly.
Yeah.
It's a zombie apocalypse. Only they punch you in the dick.
Yeah, they don't want brains. Nuts.
I had like a I went through a phase where I was like just really interested in getting like anything that was like VR enabled, and I think the last game I got, like I planned to get Alex, but I just can't justify it like monetarily yet. But the last one I got was Boneworks, which was really interesting because everything is running on simulated physics, which is a bit of a departure from how generally VR stuff runs, because you're in a normal VR game, like physics don't matter. You can like swing your hand around and the game's just like, oh yeah, your hand is here, and if you punch a thing, it goes like, alright, so your hand is there and you're punching it, that counts as a punch. You can't like grab stuff and like pull yourself over things usually, whereas in Boneworks, everything is running on simulated physics, to the point where even if you jump in real life, it will kind of go like, okay, your headset is doing this, so your character is actually jumping, and there are jumping puzzles in it. You got to climb a lot of stuff. Combat
That's
is really,
not bad.
Yeah, it's cool. Combat's really interesting because like you have to, a lot like swords and sorcery, your weapons have weight to them. So if you're swinging a thing, and you swing it like like it's like light and nothing, you actually won't get that same feedback in the game. Your character will just kind of like drop their weapon, or the weapon will just flail ineffectually. You need to like actually swing it in the correct motion at the correct speed to kind of like simulate those physics, and it really changes things up a lot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, I remember it. We were talking about last week or whatever it was about the Omnidirectional Treadmill.
Oh yeah.
That's obviously like, a huge cost and cumbersome. I've seen, I can't remember who it was, I'll check later, but someone was developing like a pressure pad for the bottom of your foot.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That would wirelessly tie back to the PC or the headset or whatever it was. And there was like one for the back of your foot and then one for the front or one for the toe or something.
Yeah.
And it would just, so you could walk on the spot and your character would walk. And then you obviously just turn your head or your body in this sense. I don't know, it looked really good in the video. You would be walking along, technically walking on the spot. Turning your head would not turn the direction you're walking in, but turning your feet obviously would.
Yeah.
You could run on the spot. You could jump. And it worked really well. It seemed like a really elegant solution.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
How long pads on the bottom of your feet would last, I don't know.
But you have to send me like a... yeah, send me like the link to that. I'd like to check it out. But obviously, and something like an omnidirectional treadmill would be ideal, like in the best case scenario. Someone else was also talking about how they've created a thing like you still require some space, but the way that you move around, the actual the camera will kind of like slightly change direction on you, like very subtly, so you don't notice it. But it basically means that it causes you to walk around like in a circle on the spot, and you still feel like you're just moving forward.
Yeah.
And like really, really interesting technology that's trying to get around like how can we make people move in a natural way, but not walk out their window on the second story.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think VR's still here to stay. Obviously, I think Valve has made a big investment because a lot of people worried that VR was
the next 3D
TV kind of thing, but.
Yeah, I don't think so, just because it's such a technological leap. Like, 3D TV was like, oh, haha, cool. But when you put on a headset for the first time, like, VR is a technology that doesn't show very well in trailers. Once you put it on and you actually experience it, like, it just changes everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember the first time I put yours on, the Oculus, which was the first one I'd ever tried.
Yep.
And... not exaggerating, felt like crying manly nerds. I remember thinking like this is the big next step that we've been waiting for.
It's an innovation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. I think a monitor will always be around.
Yeah, of course.
But I think gaming should always be the first priority of VR makers. I think that's best. Oh, aside from other industries, like, that we've seen awesome things with the medical industry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what's the crazy billionaire wants to go to Mars?
Elon Musk,
using VR for remote controlling things and stuff like that. That makes sense.
Yeah. There are plenty of applications that can be done with it, and we were only just starting to scratch the surface. As I think the next big step for VR is going to be like, here's a headset, it's completely wireless. Like that.
And that's coming.
That will change
coming.
so much.
Yeah, there already are.
You can get the.
There already are ones that are wireless. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just and obviously like once we get rid of like that kind of like the screen door effect and we get rid of we're able to have like a proper field of view and.
Eye tracking. That's the one I'm looking for. Eye
tracking, where they actually like track where your eye is, so they know what to apply depth of field to in real time.
Yeah.
Like that's some crazy stuff. But it's on the way.
Soon we'll be living in the machines.
Yeah.
Soon.
I'm ready.
Yeah. I could make
maybe that's what this is. Maybe this quarantine is just the government trying to get us ready to just dump ourselves in the machines soon.
Yeah, I'll say it's the only option left to us.
We've released a virus that's going to kill a shitload of people. Why? So they can learn to live in computers.
The downside is life will slow down a lot if you're in Australia with the internet.
Man, my life keeps dropping out.
Yeah.
Man, I seem to have to pay like a lot to be able to get basic functionality in life at the minute.
Yeah.
Just a connection error to life. It's like, man.
Buffering.
Oh, that's the worst.
Unless that's how virtual babies are born. They're just buffering for 9 months.
No, they're loading, dude.
Or loading. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
I have,
Generating baby.
I have a loading please wait t-shirt that we had for my wife when she was pregnant.
Nice.
Do you still wear it?
No.
Yeah, Dave just wears it now, yeah.
I'll start wearing it.
You can wear it to the toilet.
I think that's ejecting, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's true, yeah.
That's safe removal of ejectable
Bomb has been
hardware.
planted.
Yeah.
But on the subject of slow speeds, everyone's doing it on purpose now.
Everyone.
Slowing everything down because now suddenly everyone wants the technology. Everyone loves the technology.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Everyone wants a nerd. We're finally appreciated.
Well, you've got a job again, so they do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
You laughed at us before, but it's our world that's the future.
Well,
Me staying in my room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I will fully admit that, obviously we aren't in full lockdown yet where we are, but I don't have to change my lifestyle that much to really do it anyway.
No.
So I'm not
I've
actually
been practicing all my life.
Yeah, everyone else is having these weird freakouts like, but I can't leave my house. And I'm like, sweet. I have a government mandate to not do that.
I have a real
I have a
excuse this time.
genuine reason.
I don't even get the toilet paper thing, like, get in the shower.
Yeah. Well, that was actually one of my...
I'd be more worried about what I'm putting in my mouth than what's coming out my butt when it comes to lockdown.
Yeah, surely. That's the one
don't-
thing.
I mean, unless
that
you're
your
gonna eat
VR's
the
not
toilet
gonna do
paper.
is feed you. Yeah. So.
But even in a lockdown, why so much importance on toilet
I
paper?
don't know, man. Like I genuinely
fear-mongering.
There is this like weird thing where there was actually a statistic. I think it was from Canada where they actually put out a lot of the figures from like stores and supermarkets and that kind of thing. And a guy had put them together and gone, people have bought so much toilet paper, but not enough calories to make waste to use that toilet paper on. And it was genuine. Like, it was a fairly well thought out article. I'll have to see if I can find it again and chuck it somewhere. But I remember reading it and just going, that's a mess. Why is that even a thing? That shouldn't have occurred. People should have been buying food, maybe. Yeah.
I was thinking today, the good thing, and this isn't strictly video game related, although we will link it back to video games in a moment, is that imagine how much better off the Earth is going to be as a result.
Oh, man, it's already a thing. It is already happening.
Tangible results already being seen. Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to learn how much excess they have, or you'd hope that some people would learn. I know that I have. Like, it's, be thankful for what you've got. What you'd be amazed what you can live without.
The downside is that this is a really strong argument, like, for the case of eradicate all humans.
We are the virus.
Yeah, we're the virus. Yeah. Oh, absolutely,
It is definitely the thing where it's been brought up in certain circles I've seen lately where people have said, like, humans are the problem, and then it's like, well, not really. Like, we're still existing, and a lot of our industries are still going. Like, a lot of things are still running. It's just how we're using the place around us that's the worry.
Yeah.
That's why the big deal with the canals in Venice. Like, that's why that was such a big deal, because they're all cleared up. Dolphins are hanging out in there and stuff.
No, I think the dolphin one may not have been true.
Because there was fish that moved in, and then it was like the fish population like boomed in that area, and then it was like a genuine thing that like up into the mouths. They weren't like running in the canals between the buildings and stuff, but yeah, they were like at least like scoping the place out. Getting to the mouth and like actually checking it out, and there was a food source there, and
or just even like the air pollution.
The before and after thermal imaging and things like that.
Yeah, it's insane.
And people really aren't going without.
No.
Yet. I mean, obviously there's certain industries.
There's
certainly industries that will need to get back up and running, but it just goes to show that consumerism drives so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Bad stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, we've the whole planned obsolescence, or just that you need to replace your phone, your whatever, on a yearly basis.
Yeah, looking at you,
Yeah,
Apple fanboys.
Yeah, when it just clearly it'll still keep working for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might
All
want
they
an
got
upgrade, but
all they got to
need it.
do with those phones is make it so that you can replace the battery and off you go.
That's about it, really.
Yeah.
Well,
And the
Apple
EU's
just had
looking into that.
Apple just had to pay out a butt ton of money, didn't they, for
Slowing the phones down.
slowing their phones down on
Yeah.
purpose so that
Yeah.
people.
See, this was an interesting thing too when that came out, because they kind of finally admitted they were doing it, and the problem is that there was an Apple fanboy that I saw that he's so like into the cult, effectively. The problem was, like, months beforehand, he'd agreed with people that yes, they were doing that, but he decided it was fine. Why did he decide it was fine? Because it had to drive things forward, like technology forward, and obviously your old phone won't be able to run everything forever. And it's like, that's a weird way to take they're purposefully messing with you and making you give them more money and trying to spin that into a positive. That's not a thing. But
Well, he's just helping justify it.
yeah,
really.
and it was it was just stupid to watch that you can look at something like this, and that's obviously like a very capitalism driven thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, make him have a bad time, make him give us more cash. And I just can't. It messes with my brain that someone on like this, like, you know, people civilian tier would have any kind of way of justifying that to themselves. That it's fine.
Yeah, because I was hearing people going like, oh, well, the reason why they slow down the phone is because they make it so that as your battery starts to run out and the charge gets less and less, we make it so that the phone draws less power from it, so that your phone effectively lasts longer in a way. But again, just let me replace the battery, bro.
Yeah.
It's so clearly the built-in obsolescence in phones is just extraordinarily brazen, and that's got to stop, because what an incredible source of pollution that is.
Yeah, and we're not saying don't have new technology, but don't make people have it.
Don't force us to buy a new phone every year.
Apple haven't really driven any new technology in a long time.
Not for a while.
Nah.
They tout now features. They really, really market them and hype them up, but in reality, they're not game changing. We're not talking like the Steve Jobs era where things were genuinely new and interesting, and once they were adopted, became the new norm.
And even
Bro,
now it's
are
like,
you telling me
you
that
can control
rose
your
gold
phone.
isn't revolutionary?
Yeah, you can
Colours.
you can control your phone with hand gestures. It's like,
I do feel like
Or I could touch it.
is that you say that like Steve Jobs era thing. The Steve Jobs era thing though too was, and it's come up a couple times. Steve Jobs wasn't necessarily that, and like him and his company weren't even necessarily those innovators either. He would just find other things, or his teams would find things that someone else had made, and they would just assimilate.
Wozniak would find things.
And so they would just assimilate. They would go, all right, you know what? Here's a pile of cash. This is mine now. And
Steve Jobs was the marketer.
he was, yeah.
He was
we've got the
just
marketing
the
to
sales.
drive
his teams
these
though were
fancy
like
things.
literally tasked with find stuff we don't have that looks new and exciting, try to buy it. And like when you've got an entire company that kind of over time becomes almost built around that idea, you see a slowdown in it falling down. And like Steve Jobs being a marketer and having his face behind it, and the kind of teams that he employed were very good at what they do. They did. They were very, very good at what they did. And because the teams that they've got now aren't as good at what they're doing, we're seeing that slow down in a bigger way. So they're not finding things before they emerge, or finding things as they emerge. They're finding things after they've already appeared, and then they're going, oh, hey, we'll catch that too.
Yeah, they're sort of neck and neck with the phone race. With you've got your Samsung and your Apple.
At this point, that's
basically the two big players, and there's very similar stuff on either side.
See, what Steve Jobs was, I'm not going to say good at, because I think a lot of people could do this. But it was the engineers at Apple that were the true heroes, so to speak, because he would say, I want this, whether it exists or not, I want this, but I want you to cram it into here.
Yeah.
And it was the engineers that then had to go and figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, a big part of their early success, because they would take things that are usually cumbersome or it would take multiple devices to achieve, and he got his engineers to somehow cram it all into one, and that was a big reason for the success.
Well, that was, let's face it, that's how we ended up with the iPhone. We went from the iPod and the MP3 player kind of market, and then they went, what else do we chuck in that? And
I'm sad the Zune never bet iPod.
Yeah. Man, if the Zune beat the iPod, we'd probably have better Windows phones by now, and I love those things. So.
Absolutely. They're great.
Oh, yeah,
man.
absolutely.
The Windows phone.
But just, anyway, tying the back to the coronavirus and
video games.
Let's go back to the coronavirus. Cool.
and because you don't hear enough of it, but the effect on industries. Who would have guessed that the most thriving industry at the moment, or one of, is the video game industry?
I thought you were going to say porn. I really did.
That probably also has seen an increase.
Anything that lets you sit at home playing with yourself, you're good.
Well, Pornhub has, on its banner, renamed itself to Stay at Home Hub, I'm pretty sure, so... Yeah.
Oh dear.
I got told that by a friend. Yeah, but no, it's... Yeah, I know porn's doing well, but yes, video games...
Is porn ever doing poorly?
No, it's never been doing poorly. There's never been a downturn in porn.
Well, VHS porn's probably doing pretty poorly. Yeah. But no, gaming industry, safe bet.
Yeah, at the moment, for sure.
Obviously.
Lots of them have been releasing free games to play.
I noticed GOG are offering a library of at least 27 now.
Yeah.
Games. We're seeing a lot of street dates broken. I don't know if that's the same everywhere, but here in Australia, EB are breaking street dates.
They're just
release dates.
Physical copies.
Probably,
they just don't want to be there. So the sooner
lockdown.
these people can get these things, I can go home quicker. I'm breaking street date by 3 months.
It's just empty this warehouse.
GameStop are not breaking street dates. They just wrap plastic bags around their house.
Just breaking ethics and morals.
Just ruining lives.
Don't they? But GameStop own eBay.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they're the
same company. They EB's their Australian branch.
We've banned plastic bags, so it's hard
I can't.
Doesn't look the same when you're wearing one of those long-lasting Coles bags.
Some old Daikatana CD cases or DVD cases.
There's a point where I think we've covered it before. I work in a heavy metal processing plant. It's just, if you don't have the gear, you don't have the people working. That should be a rule everywhere. And as it is, it's already dumb that GameSpot are nah, keep going. But when they're
essential,
to keep going, but they're just but there's some Ziploc bags, just shut the Sanny bags on your hands, bruv. And it's nah. That's
be fine. Touch that earthy, dirty cash.
I hope this wasn't Reggie's idea.
Oh, that's right. Reggie's at GameStop now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, that poor guy. I always liked
what a time to shift careers to GameStop.
He went from being the coolest guy at Nintendo, the coolest.
He went from being video game
English
dad
speaker on Nintendo, to going and being GameStop guy, and you're just that's a downgrade, bud.
What a step down from Domino's to Nintendo. To GameStop.
I forgot about Domino's. I did.
I could go.
I could, and you can get it delivered now with no touch delivery. So
we funnily enough, we got pizza last night, and I was standing at the door waiting for him to knock because I don't like to open it even if I know they're there. That's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he went back and got in his car, and I'm like, did he decide not to deliver it? But no, he sat it on an empty box. And then called me from his car to say that the pizza was at the door.
I actually ordered it the other night, and this was actually kind of really handy for me. An old Kickstarter thing I backed finally had its stretch goals come out, so I actually had a box that was a good kind of little half shin height size. And I saw that when I was going through the Domino's thing, it was hey, do you just leave somewhere outside safe for it to sit? And I'm all right, cool. Went and just sat the box from that package, just out the front of my door, and I was like, cool, just leave it there, bro.
Yeah,
it was good.
Nice. Well, boys, on the note of food, I think it might be time for us to wrap this one up.
I get it.
Wraps.
Yeah.
Wraps are delicious.
God damn it! I did not put
Or
that
are you
together.
talking about Glad?
I was talking about going to have dinner.
It's all gone wrong because like Dave said, I get it wraps, and I was like, oh, I missed it. I missed that altogether.
No,
But yeah,
No.
food good.
Yeah.
No contact good. Maybe we should all go and get some. It is getting to that time.
yeah.
I
All right.
don't know what I'm going to have. Now I'm just thinking of food.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take off there. Thank you for tuning in to Neon City Daily. Was it real? Was it a deep fake? Was it all a dream? That's up to you.